YouTube. This is Ron
And Brett.
here from Team Wildcard, and we're doing a new segment or show on the Team Wildcard channel called PokeNOW,
Where
where we discuss about Pokemon and talk about related news.
exactly every aspect of the franchise will be discussed. And you might have noticed the way Ron's voice sounds. It's because he's currently in Delaware. I'm currently in South Carolina. So to make this work, we pretty much did a conference call, and we're recording it. Hopefully that doesn't bug anybody. But today our segment will be a little thing we like to call "Who's Got That Slot," where we discuss two potential candidates for the same slot on a competitive battling team. And for this first slot is for a good dragon type Pokemon, because who doesn't love a dragon type Pokemon? There's a reason.
I know I do.
There's a reason most of them are in OU, because they're good. And these two have been in competition for quite a while. Lead us off, Ron.
The two Pokemon that we have in as candidates is the first gen Pokemon, Dragonite, and the third gen Pokemon, Solomon.
Yep, Dragonite and Salamence. Both dragon flying types, so we both know why they like to butt heads. Both pseudo legendaries, so they both have that same base stat total of 60. So I mean, or 600, not 60, my bad. That'd be really bad.
That'd be terrible.
Alright, where do we start with? First, let's start with the fact that Dragonite outclasses Salamence in defense 100%.
Oh yeah.
With a 95 defense stat and 100 special defense stat for Dragonite, while Salamence's defense and special defense are both only 80, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it is. Especially that even though despite that they're both the same typing, riding and flying, and they both have the same weaknesses, it's just which can take a hit more. And despite that, we have the ability to enter focus with Dragonite or Multi-Scale, which can help Dragonite a lot.
Exactly.
Back then, when Dragonite didn't have that ability, Salamence was the best choice.
Exactly.
But now with Black and White, Multi-Scale put Dragonite in the top spot.
Exactly. Multi-scale is what made Dragonite, like, back in the day, like Ron said, everybody said Salamence outclassed Dragonite. But with that, as soon as Dragonite got that multi-scale ability, he went right up there.
Exactly. And even if back in the day Salamence had Intimidate, which was very helpful because there's a lot of physical attack Pokemon that have their attack, but you have now Moxie. So give Salamence an extra edge in the competitive game.
Exactly.
Every knockout counts.
Exactly. Everyone counts. We all know how Moxie helped Gyarados, well, it does the same thing for Salamence.
Exactly. And with without a Dragon Pokemon, it makes it a little bigger threat. And let's talk more about their stats. Even though Salamence have like 8 more HP than Dragonite, it's only a 4-point difference. Not that much of a difference, but yeah, Dragonite with Multi-Scale once again, and Roost.
Exactly.
Which helps out even more.
With that roost attack, it makes that multi-scale ability that much more viable. It makes it that much more potent at keeping your Dragonite full health to reduce those attacks by half.
Exactly.
But one thing, like we said, Dragonite outclasses Salamence in defenses, but Salamence has the edge in speed. Dragonite has a mere base speed of 80, which is as sad as Salamence's special defense and defense being at 80 each. But Salamence has a pretty decent speed of 100. That's not bad.
And neither Pokemon have below average, stats. In my opinion, if something is like about 80 or above, or 80 to 100, that's pretty average for me. So neither of them have below average stats.
Right. I mean, they're based at total 600 each. They're both pseudo legendaries. Their stats are superior to most. But it's all about how they're divided up. Like, Salamence's attack is at 135, only 1 point higher than Dragonite's base attack of 134. Not that fantastic. Salamance's special attack, however, is a full 10 points over Dragonite's, at 110 with Dragonite's 100. So, in my opinion, like, Dragonite attack and special attack stats are by no means lackluster. They are above average, especially its attack. I mean, it is a fantastic. It can be used for offensive purposes as well as defensive purposes. But everything Dragonite can do offensively, Salamence can do better. Salamence can land harder hits physically and specially, making Salamence a far better mixed attacker than Dragonite ever could be. Not that Dragonite's useless as a physical attacker, but Salamence does it better. At least.
Exactly. And we can even discuss it. Let's now discuss about their moveset.
Alright, yeah.
Start off with Salamence, the OG Salamence, with Choice Scarf, Dragon Dance, with Lumberry, Life Orb, or Mixed Mint Salamence with Life Orb.
Exactly. You got 3 sets right there, you just said. You got the Mixed Events, which is the Mixed Attacker. Personally, my favorite set, because he has Outrage, one of the, quite possibly the strongest, I think it is actually the strongest Dragon-type physical move out there. Dragon Claw also, which is a good alternative if you don't want to lock yourself into Outrage. As well as having the Stab special attack Draco Meteor, which we all dread, especially from Latios. But it also has access to special attacks such as Fire Blast, which is part of the Mixed Met set. Also has access to
Hydro. A viable asset for Sunny Day Team.
Exactly, be a very viable asset for a Sunny Day Team thanks to that Fire Blast. And thanks to Aqua Tail and Hydro Pump, it can also be a mixed attacker in a rain team. And it has access to Earthquake. Who doesn't love Earthquake? And thanks to that Dragon Dance, think about it. You got Moxie, you got a base 100 speed stat, and you got Dragon Dance. So not only is he boosted.
With the Dragon Dance Salamence, even if you have Outrage along with the pluses from Dragon Dance, if you have Lumberry will have Confusion, which makes it more of a threat.
Exactly. It makes it to where it just, I can only imagine how dreadful a Moxie Salamence would be. With that base 100 speed, it can revenge kill almost everything. Going with the Salamence, revenge kill something, get the Moxie off. Going for Dragon Dance if you have to. If you want to. I mean, speed's already impressive at 100. Increase it that much more, increase its attack even more, plus that Moxie, and you just can sweep. It's going to be a great sweeper. But that doesn't mean it's, superior to Dragonite in general moveset. Dragonite does have more, as a bit more useful moves. It has U-turn, which Salamence doesn't. It has the aforementioned Roost. It has the priority move Extreme Speed, which is a big deal, because we all know how important priority moves can be, especially in revenge killing.
Exactly. Especially like if you're wearing Tearing at their opponent with Stealth Rocks, and you set it up and that one Pokemon that you need to be dead, you Extreme Speed it, and damn, it's dead.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the other movesets that Salamence also has that's known for. You have the Special Attacker with Dragon Gem and Yankee Berry, or the Cool Attacker with Life Orb and Yankee Berry, and T-Berry, I'm pronouncing it wrong, or the Special Choice, which is for Choice Scarf or Specs, increases the speed even more.
I'm personally a fan of the Choice Scarf. I'm just a big fan of Choice Scarf, in all honesty. Salamence doesn't need it by any means, but if you know you're going up against something like a Latios or something you know is faster, Choice Scarf does not hurt to have. It does not hurt to have that extra boost of speed, especially when you could get para-hacked. That Choice Scarf can really come to save you in the end.
I'm actually I have used this in the Pokemon Go tournament, but the Dragon Gem actually helps. Even though you use it once, it actually kind of gives that extra boost to a Pokemon that is known for being the special type. Draco Meteor with Dragon Gem actually really helps, especially from some in this matter, because the special attack, like you said, is 110.
Exactly.
Above average.
It's Dragonite. We're not disqualifying Dragonite as a special attacker or a mixed attacker. It can be a potent mixed attacker, but like I said, offensively it won't hit as hard as Salamence does. And when you get burned, when your attack takes that great fall, it does not hurt to have that special attack to fall back on. You got Outrage and a Draco Meteor. to where, I mean, that's if you use the mixed mint set, which is personally my favorite, like I said. They burn you, that outrage or your Dragon Claw becomes useless. You got that Draco Meteor that stab Draco Meteor to fall back on.
Exactly. But now let's talk about Dragonite. We discussed a lot about Salamence, but now let's talk about the multi-scale Dragonite. Let's talk about its move sets in the OU. You have the Dragon Dance Dragonite with the Lumberry or the Leftovers, where Choice Band, as of course he has Choice Band, or the substitute Dragon Dance Dragonite with Leftovers. Or there's even more. There's like a long list with the OU. You have the multi-scale Shuffler with Leftovers, Rain Mix Attacker with Life Orb, the Tank Rain with Leftovers, and the Plane Tank with Leftovers or Life Orb.
One of my favorite sets, in my opinion, on Dragonite. I mean, personally, I like offensive sets. I just do, but for some reason, Dragonite stands apart. One of my favorite sets is the Substitute set, because that's one thing Salamence lacks is the ability to use Substitute. That Substitute plus that Dragon Dance, like you mentioned before, can really come in handy.
Exactly.
I know you personally have a Dragonite that you own that's a defensive Dragonite, which Salamence could never ever hope to have a defensive set. He has, I believe it has Substitute, Thunder Wave, Toxic, and Roost.
And like I kind of said this before, but Dragonite kind of helps support the team as well. Like you said, the Thunder Wave and the Toxic help support the team. Or like later on, Lefferson.
Exactly.
The Substitute and with the multi-scale and plus Dragon Dance and including Root, what makes it more reliable because there's not many things that can hurt Dragon types except for Ice or other Dragon types.
Well, considering their flying type, they do have that rock weakness, but considering Dragonite can learn Waterfall and Salamence can learn Aqua Tail and Hydro Pump, it's not really a big concern. As well as Earthquake. One thing that Dragonite also has that sets it apart is that U-turn. The fact that it can scout out what it needs to do. It doesn't have to be used offensively. It can be used purely as a scout, which can really come in handy.
Yeah. Especially with the Choice Band one, because of the sheer fact that with the multi-scale, like I said, it's one, and even if they have like a hidden power Ice, if you know that it hurts Dragonite a little, and it's not super effective, you can go U-turn, and there you go. You're pretty much set for the next Pokemon that's taking hidden power Ice or Ice Beam or something like that, which most commonly seen is hidden power Ice.
Exactly. One of my favorite things, though, or not favorite things, but sometimes on a Dragonite I view Dragon Dance as a staple because, like we said, he has lackluster speed. That Dragon Dance for Salamence, you don't need the speed boost, but it doesn't hurt. But it's for that attack. While Dragonite, on the other hand, Dragonite really, really needs that speed boost. That's why I think it's somewhat of a staple on a Dragonite, just because that speed boost could really come to save you in the end.
I say, like, for Dragonite, I think the best one to use if you're going for a ranking party, or if you want to add a dragon in there, I would say use the Tank Rain Leftovers one. Because like with Rain Dance out there, it's pretty much setting up for Dragonite, but with Thunderbolt and stuff, you can get more hits. Even though you have probably other Pokemon in the team that can use Thunderbolt, it's probably more reliable because they probably have that Rain Hill Pinnacle or the Dark Skin Toxicroak that you need to put out, and sometimes that Dragonite could probably help and come in handy with even though it's you have other abilities, other attacks as well with Dragonite. But like I said, defensively, if you're going for a defensive set, I would say go with Dragonite all the way.
100%.
If you want to go 100% with Dragonite. But if you go with offensive and you want someone that can revenge kill off the Hurker, use Salamence.
Exactly. The one thing that Dragonite, like we said, what we've been saying this whole time is how Dragonite defensively is not 100% better, but 100% better than Salamence defensively. But that just makes it that much better of a sweeper. I mean, Dragonite by no means is inferior to Salamence. It's just, while it is weaker, especially and barely attack-wise, that 1 point doesn't make that much of a difference attack-wise. but it's a better sweeper in my opinion. I mean, sure, Salamence has that boxy and that greater speed. That's true, but Dragonite, on the other hand, can take hits better. It can, it can be a bulky attacker. Salamence has no choice. He cannot be a bulky attacker. Dragonite, on the other hand, can take hits, heal with Roost, take hits with that multi-scale too, adding to it while, either Dragon Dancing or increasing its power. So,
But like my personal choice, if I had to choose one or the other, I'd probably use Dragonite because I need a reliable defensive Dragon type Pokemon. If I wanted that is if I'm mainly playing for defensive set. But I have other teams that don't really that need a defensive Pokemon, and I sometimes like to go with Dragonite because of the substitute multi-scale and Roost ability. So it helps me scout out even more. That's my personal choice.
Right.
Some people like to choose Solomons, but that's why I'd rather go for it.
I'm a little mixed on the situation. I'm not sure which one I like better. I think they both have their purposes. For me, it's a tie. It all depends on what else I have on my lineup. If I need someone more bulky, I'll go with Dragonite. If I want somebody merely as a revenge killer, I'll go with Salamence. Because that base speed is second only to Garchomp.
Yeah, I mean, that's my choice too, Wayne. But mainly if I'm going for a defensive, because I like having at least one defensive Pokemon
in
my team, I'll have Dragonite.
I agree.
But like I said before, if I needed someone as a bench killer or something like that, I'll have Solomon. But in my case, I have a Jurassic Party set up, even though it might be not a smart choice. I have both on my team.
Right. All right. We were talking about rain teams earlier, so let's talk about a different weather condition. Let's talk about Sandstorm. Let's talk about the Pokemon that can start up Sandstorm without having to use their single attack with the ability Sandstream. We got Tyranitar and Hippowdon, which, just in case you couldn't get the hint, this slot is for a Sandstreamer, which is, Pokemons who have the ability Sandstream. We got the Supreme King of Sandstream, Tyranitar, and then we got, the wall that is Hippowdon. And,
the King of Walls. But let's talk about Tyranitar. Tyranitar is what, third gen?
Second gen.
Second gen, my bad. He's a Lost Dark, which makes it have a great typing. His ability is Sandstream or Universe. I might be wrong in a B.
Unnerve.
Unnerve, which kind of helps with, if your opponent likes to use berries, you just eat that shit up or make them not use it. But Sandstream is what we're going for here. And another thing about him is that he has a great typing. He's a pseudo legendary for starters, and plus that he has very good HP, attack 134, defense 110, special attack 95, which is not it's an average, but it's not as good. Special defense out of 100 and speed of 61. The speed is not great, but who really needs it whenever you have a bulky Tyranitar?
Yeah, or Choice Scarf. I'm a personal fan of Choice Scarf Tyranitar. When Choice Scarf's around, you really don't got to worry about that speed stat too much. But yeah, I mean, like he just said, that attack stat of 134 is fantastic. And remember, he's part Rock type, so thanks to that whole, thanks to the Sandstream being up, his special defense gets increased by 50%. So that 100 turns into a 150, meaning he can take hits even better, especially than he could before, as long as that Sandstorm's up, which 9 times out of 10, considering he has the ability Sandstream, it's going to be out.
Exactly.
When it comes down to Hippowdon, his HP is only at 108, which isn't bad. It's higher than Tyranitar's by a bit. Attacks 112. It's relatively high. It's a pretty high stat, but it's mediocre compared to other physical attackers like Tyranitar. Its defense is 118, slightly higher than Tyranitar's. Special attack is a meager 68. Special defense is a kind of depressing 72, and its speed is a very, 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 very slow 47.
He has 3 below average stats, which is not great, but like you said before, it's a great wall. And that's
Exactly.
what he's supposed to use. Um, let's discuss more about Tyranitar's moveset for OU, which you have the 3 choice band, support with leftovers, or the choice guard, which is like Brett said, it's a very good choice because it increases speed even more. So there you go. With superpower as well to get rid of other dark type Pokemon is a great accent to the Pokemon.
I agree. I mean, the Hippowdon's just a pure ground type, which it's not the worst type out there. It's weak to ice and water and grass, and that's all I can think of right now. But
I mean, even though the Tyranitar probably has the same weaknesses as grass and water, he's such a bulky Pokemon,
exactly. I
which
mean,
it doesn't really matter.
exactly, especially and like physically defensively, it can take the hits better than Hippowdon. I mean, if it's, I mean, especially it will definitely take hits better than Hippowdon can. One good Hydro Pump, Hippowdon's gone. Tyranitar in the sand may be able to survive it. It should be able to survive it. Actually, so I'm willing to go that far. And
Should be able, unless they get a crit.
unless they get a crit, but that's you can't help that. That always that you can't control that.
Exactly. And sometimes, I mean, it's not this. I know this move is not on either one of their movesets, but something random Tyranitar can learn Thunder, so that's kind of weird. If we're going with the Nerve moveset and have it Thunder with a Rain Team, which is not a smart choice, but it can learn it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Tyranitar's typing is unique. That dark rock type is fantastic. While Hippowdon being a pure ground type, it faces just so many rival. Well, let's start with Hippowdon's best set by far is its physical wall set. With Earthquake, it's Stab Earthquake, a Slack Off to give it more staying power, Stealth Rock to help you set up, and Ice Fang or Whirlwind depending on what you fancy. It's a physical wall. That's what it's best at, in my opinion. And the only problem with that is that when it comes down to a Sandstorm team, you already have so many Pokemon that are physical walls to contend with. You got Skarmory for one. Skarmory's a personal favorite. That is, one of the best physical walls in the game right now, in the OU tier or otherwise. Same thing with Gliscor, a ground type that also takes no damage, but it has more potential offensive use thanks to toxic stalling and whatnot. While there's no really there's no real competition for Tyranitar. It is the only thing of its kind that's just fantastic across the board. It has a meager 61 speed, that's true, but one that's already faster than Hip. Yeah. You mean OU?
No, you have Uber. You have Uber Tyranitar, who is Hank Lefto's mom.
Oh yeah.
And the twin one.
Yeah.
But for Hippowdon, you have an Uber who is just only physical wall.
Exactly. There's no competition for Tyranitar. There really isn't. Like, it is the only Pokemon of its kind. The only competition it has is in a Sand Streamer, but personally,
Other than that, you personally use Tyranitar over anything.
Yeah, there's a reason Tyranitar is chosen more, and I honestly understand why. There's one thing that they both have to their advantage, or they can both learn Stealth Rock, which, while most Tyranitars don't use it if it's the setup, it makes it to where you don't have to switch up. You can just leave in that what's it called? That lead Tyranitar and throw in that Stealth Rock without having to switch out. For example, go ahead. No, go ahead, man.
I mean, because you heard about when you hear about weather, you hear California for people, ground for drought, and you have Tyranitar for sand stream. So it's like, when you hear the sand stream, you automatically think Tyranitar. You don't really think about Hippowdon, even though you have the ability, and it probably was used a lot back in the day, but not a lot of people use it now.
Exactly. So all in all, considering Hippowdon's lack of, it suffers from the same sort of, in my opinion, disease as Rhyperior does, in that, and Steelix does, in that its special stats are just too bad to where it's not as effective. While Tyranitar, other than its lackluster speed, is just fantastic across the board, and you can always fix that speed with the Choice Scarf. So there's a reason people choose Tyranitar. I'm going with Tyranitar 100%.
I'm going Tyranitar all hands down.
All right.
Keep it cool.
The next slot we got is for a Rapid Spinner. We got the ever-present Starmie, as well as the less seen but still OU Fortress.
The heavy metal fortress. Let's talk about Starmie. Starmie, right off the bat, his speed is it overspeeds Fortress.
Yeah, by a lot.
We all know Fortress is slow. But it's not about mostly on the stats per se. Even though Starmie has probably lower HP in the Fortress, Starmie has a great moveset where it can probably get over its weaknesses, such as Grass types, which he can learn Fire Blast. Fire Flamethrower. But that's not the thing here. Rapid Spin, for on the rain team, helps him out reliably, because not only have Rapid Spin, also have Hydro Pump, Thunder, and they're have great accuracy.
Yeah.
So that, it's like Starmie will have that great advantage for a rain team party. Even if you decide to put him in a spin, it will hurt him a little bit, but he's still great. His speed will outspeed the other Pokemon.
Right, he outspeeds most things. Starmie is incredibly fast.
Exactly. And for some Pokemon, even going up against Fantasy Party, is a big threat for some Pokemon because of Starmie's speed.
Exactly. One thing that also sets Starmie apart is its natural cure ability, which which makes it just have so much more staying power. I mean, it's a water type. Water types, they have the Stab Scald, which we all know is one of the biggest pain in the butts in the metagame. It has the most irritating Thunder Wave. It has access to Thunderbolt, Recover, Trick. We all know how annoying Trick is. A Psyshock. It just has so many options.
Psychic as well.
Yeah, Ice Beam, we all know. We just all know how irritating its moveset can be. I mean, that's the thing that gives Starmie an edge, is that it has so many different sets it can use. With so many different combinations of its moves. As a Rapid Spinner, you can use it as a as a support Rapid Spinner. You know, you Rapid Spin, and then you Thunder Wave, and you Scald, or you Trick, or you just, you put them at a disadvantage. Or you can go with an offensive Rapid Spinner. You use the Rapid Spin, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, or Surf, and Thunderbolt, and then you got a powerful Starmie. Or you can go for a Psyshock too.
Well, kind of not this Fortress completely. But Fortress can also learn stuff lots or spikes.
Yeah, that is an advantage for Fortress, that it can set up entry hazards, which Starmie can't. So you could easily Rapid Spin away your entry hazards with Fortress while setting up your own on your opponent.
Exactly. But what sets pretty much Starmie from Fortress is that Starmie can also recover himself with the move Recover, of course, which makes him a lot of a pain in the ass when you think about it. And it just has, like we said before, it has so much sets, such as the Rapid Spin, which you go all defensive on there, or with the Skull, hoping to get a burn, or so many things. Even though that Fortress is a psychic, Glass, no, my bad, Bug, Steel, which is a good typing. It's just Starmie has an advantage over getting over weaknesses more.
I agree. And one thing I noticed about Fortress physically is just so much more bulky with that 140 defensive stat, which is, pretty good, and its attack is 90, not terrible, not great. it also suffers from what Hippodon suffers from, in that it's low special attack, special defense, and speed. They're just really bad, but that's not what it's here. It's here for Rapid Spinner, so it's okay. And it only has one weakness, albeit a very powerful one, and one that's very common with Infernape running around in a Heatran. But one thing I noticed was that its sets, like it only has a few sets. It doesn't have many useful move sets, but they all use the same attacks. They all use the same combination of only a few attacks. So it pretty much means, regardless of the EV spread, it only has one useful set. While Starmie has so many possible options, Fortress, on the other hand, has one useful set. The only difference is is one trainer preference or player preference and the EV spread. Other than that, you use the exact same moves for every set.
And something I've seen on the game that I thought was quite clever was due to Fortress being slow. If you give it an iron ball and give it an attack gold ball, it will do a lot of damage because gold ball depends on how slow the Pokemon is. So giving him that, I guess I give him pause for something like that kind of move.
Yeah, so, but I have to say, all in all, especially with Starmie's natural cure, I mean, it just has so much more staying power, and it lets it really transcend what a Rapid Spinner does. So, my vote goes for Starmie.
Mine is also as for Starmie as well, which is a boss.
Right.
So that's another one. We have one that was a tie. We have another that was a default win, and we have another one that's a default win. But are we missing something? Oh, we're missing two legendary Pokemon here.
Right. This slot is for a supporter, and I mean, you're probably thinking, okay, there's a lot of support Pokemon, but these two pretty much fight for that same spot. They're pretty much two sides of the same coin, depending on your preference. Yeah.
And to make it even more of a hard choice, they both have all the same stats.
Yeah.
Of 100.
Can you guess it yet? They're both psychic types. They're both dual types, so they each have one more type. Both have a stat spread of 100 each, and they're both adorable.
Exactly. No, neither one is cuter than the other, and we're talking about Celebi versus Jirachi.
That's right. Two of the most broken support Pokemon in the OU metagame. Here they are. Who should we start with?
We should start with Celebi. As I said, with the stats, there's nothing really more that we can discuss about the stats because they're all the same, 100. But let's talk more about its ability, Natural Cure, which is a great reliable ability that when you're going up against toxic spikes or people that's using toxic or people using Thunderwave.
Right.
When you switch them out, it pretty much doesn't even matter anymore because he heals himself.
Exactly.
But let's look at, along with his ability, let's look at his moveset as well.
Alright.
If you want to add on to his ability?
Well, it essentially, just like Starmie, it's that natural cure ability Ron was just talking about. It just has the great power to give it great staying power. It make like most Pokemon having it be badly poisoned is a death sentence. You may not die in the next few turns, but it will die eventually. It will be taken by the toxic or with the burn or whatever. Celebi has the ability to switch out and cure itself instantly, which is just a huge asset on any team.
Exactly. Despite that he's a dual type psychic grass, you have his moveset. Let's talk about the OU moveset of Celebi, which is special defense with leftovers. The offensive set with life orb or leftovers, nasty plot with leftovers or life orb, or the choice guard, especially with the trick.
Alright, personally, I like the special attack set, because that's one thing that Celebi can do that Jirachi can't. I mean, granted, their stats are the same, so they both have the potential and movesets to use special attacks, but Celebi has Nasty Plot, which Jirachi doesn't, which gives it the ability to sharply raise its special attack, making its special attacks with that much more. Plus that Giga Drain not only heals that Celebi, but it also hurts the opponent. And with the Leaf Storm, we all know how deadly that Leaf Storm can be if powerful enough. And Earth Power, I mean, when it comes down to those, Pokemon that are weak to Earth types, but they're but they're physically defensive, you got that Earth Power to come in, like Drapions, for example. I mean, Celebi's OU, Drapions, UU, or RU, I forget which. That Earth Power could really come in handy against those physically bulky types that, you need to attack specially. And with that, and while Jirachi, which we'll talk about later, has Calm Mind, that only boosted special attack up by 1, while the Nasty Plot does the work of 2 Calm Minds, offensively at least, and allows Celebi to hit harder, faster. And with that natural cure, yeah, it's a big deal.
And Celebi with Choice Scarf and Trick, that's a great scout for knowing what item your opponent has. So, say for instance, they might have an Iron Ball, you give them the choice specs and they're locked into a certain move. But when you switch it out and you use Trick again, you're giving your opponent back that Iron Ball and you're taking that item again. So basically, you're scouting out what items they have and just pretty much taking it away. So expecting that even if they have leftovers, you can take that leftovers and give them a locked-in choice card, so they're locked into that certain move.
Exactly. Another thing that sets Celebi apart from Jirachi is its Pair Song, which we all know can be really irritating if it's used correctly. Pair Song either forces them to, sacrifice one of their pokes, or forces them to switch out, which, most people aren't willing just to give up one of their pokes as death fodder, considering Pair Song, so it'll let you predict their switch, which, I mean, it's just a really good move. It allows you to trap them essentially in whatever you want them to switch out to. It allows you to better predict everything. You don't have to worry about whether they're going to switch out or not, because you know they will, because nobody wants to lose to a Pair Song. And that's a really big asset. And that, of course, the Stab Psychic is really powerful. And just, I mean, it can set up Stealth Rock too, which is a big deal. And a personal favorite, which is almost on every Celebi set, is that Thunder Wave, which is a really big asset.
Especially when you're going up against Pokemon or already staff, use that Thunder Wave, and it will pretty much set up for Pokemon that you have on your team that can take out that Pokemon, which is already paralyzed.
Exactly. So, especially, I think Celebi has the advantage, especially when it comes to special attacks, just because of that Nasty Plot mainly. That Nasty Plot just makes it faster and more efficient, with Natural Cure making it last longer.
Exactly.
But it's
let's talk about the Star Wish Pokemon Jirachi.
Yeah, let's talk about its ability first. That ability, Serene Grace, for those of you who don't know what it does, what's it do? It doubles the odds of a secondary effect of a move taking place. So,
exactly, especially for his Iron Head attack, even it, like, paralyzing Pokemon, that's just ridiculous. And Body Slam.
And Body Slam, exactly. And Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Fire Punch. It increases all the secondary effects of those.
Exactly. And, being that he's still psychic, even though he probably has that weakness of ground, like, still, Dark-type Pokemon can't pretty much hurt him because it's still typing. Let's talk about its move sets, which is has a long list of that, which is special defensive type, which is the leftovers, Substitute with leftovers, Choice Scarf, Substitute Paralyze with leftovers, a Mixed Attacker with Experience Goat, Super Rachi, Offensive Calm Mind with leftovers, and the last and not least, the Wish Calm Mind leftovers.
One thing I noticed is that, unlike Celebi, Jirachi has access to very powerful physical moves. And those physical moves are really, you wouldn't think it, but Jirachi, at that 100 base attack stat of everything, makes it physical hits actually hurt a lot more than you think they would. So that's one thing. It 100% has physical attacks on Celebi. The only physical attack Celebi has is U-turn, while Jirachi has, like the aforementioned Iron Head, Body Slam, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. Just so many different physical attacks that Celebi does not have. But its typing, everybody knows the Steel type is quite possibly one of the best types in the game. has its many
Another,
resistances.
another thing that's kind of cool that they both have the choice scarf, which trick that locks them, like I said before, it locks their opponent to that one move. Especially if they're thinking that they can use toxic, doing that Jirachi is ill type, he won't be unaffected. He's unaffected by poison. So doing that, he locks them up into toxic. So then you have their item. So
Yeah.
like there's so many possibilities with for Scarf. But one of my favorites would probably be the mixed attacker with experienced belt, because if you're hitting a Pokemon, and especially with experienced belt, increasing if they're weak to it, it helps out like a lot. So say for instance you're going up against a lot like Pokemon and you use Iron Head, plus with Dream Base, if it doesn't kill him, it'll paralyze. But if it does kill him, it's because of expert belt, experience belt.
One thing that I think also sets Jirachi apart is the ability to use substitute, and that can really, really help. I mean, substitute's not on most sets, but everybody knows how broken substitute is, and there's a good reason for that. It's so useful in certain situations that it's irreplaceable. And Jirachi, I'm sorry, not Jirachi. Celebi has recover. Celebi helps itself, stay alive with its recover, but Jirachi has wish, which sure it's a slower healing option, but if it wants, it can heal itself, or you can heal another teammate, which is really viable when you have that, powerful sweeper that's almost dead, and you really want to give it as much health as you can. You're back in the game.
Exactly.
That wish goes off, and you know what you're doing.
But yeah, like supportive wise, I say Jirachi has this one because he's a great support Pokemon with the ability with the attack wish. And another thing that separates Jirachi from Celebi is that he's also in Ubers with two move sets of wish support with leftovers and also with choice scarf. Like I said before, it's a great thing to lock into your opponent. So with wish support, it even helps your teammates out. So which makes Jirachi a great support Pokemon for the team. For fan stream party Pokemon, it helps them out as well, especially if you have that broken turn inside that needs more health. Use that wish, and it gets that wish. Or if any Pokemon in your party needs that, I mean, it can go with it, almost anything. I would say Celebi is more of a Pokemon that will kill. Like, it's going out there to scout, but it can also kill your Pokemon, your opponent's Pokemon. But comes down for support, I would say Jirachi, my vote. But for me, it's an even tie. Like, if we're going for which one is going to the party, I say it's hot. Well, what do you say, Brett?
I agree. Jirachi, even with the Calm Mind, its special attacks won't do fantastic damage, and its physical attacks, they're still, a base stat of 100 is nothing to be ashamed of, but at the same time, it's nothing amazing. You mainly do the Iron Head and Body Slams for their secondary effects, which, can really come back to haunt you, and, neither one's fantastic physically. They're both very good support. Celebi, though, has the nasty plot, which helps it be better for, like you said, a special attacker. That's one thing that sets Celebi apart. Jirachi has more options, so I can't say 9 times out of 10, I'd say 6 out of 10 times. Jirachi, depending on your team, Jirachi may be the better choice, but if you want a good special attacker that also has other assets to use besides just being a special attacker, Celebi can also be very useful. So 6 times out of 10, 60% of the time, Jirachi might be a better choice, but Celebi by no means should be overlooked at all.
Exactly.
Especially thanks.
And like you said before, they all have, to my standards, average all around stats. So base stats. So with that, it's not a shame to have 100, stats. There's some Pokemon that's even worse than that. But legendary pieces.
Exactly. I guess that leaves us with the final portion, which is the Pokemon of the week.
Which is a Pokemon that not a lot of people use, but it should be a Pokemon, a great scout Pokemon, which is Ditto.
Exactly. Ron and I were talking about this earlier, wondering why people don't use Ditto more, considering its new ability, letting you not only essentially let you copy them without having to transform, use up a move, which not only tells you exactly what your opponent has, but
But it allows them to scout what item they have as well, especially with attack. And even if you have a choice star Ditto, you'll outspeed whatever Pokemon you're going up against. For example, such as if you're going up against a Furnace, if you don't know what item it's holding or what moveset it is, you're going to transform into it, and just depending on what moveset it has, you know what item it will have. So if it's a slower Furnace, then you know you're going to outspeed it, or you can kill it, or you can transform to another Pokemon in your party that can kill that Furnace.
exactly. So I mean, like you just said. I mean, it's a perfect scout. You not only get to find out their move, like I mean, half the time when you're battling somebody, you have no clue what their moves are. I mean, sure there are sets that are more popular than others. Like on Infernape, you can almost guarantee there's a Flare Blitz. You can almost guarantee they're gonna have a U-turn because they're good moves. But let's say you have those other two moves for coverage, and you have no clue what they are. You copy it without even having to use a single attack. You know it right away. Let's say you choice scarf your Ditto just to make sure you're outspeed whatever it is. You can easily, if let's say, like I said, we're using a Fernet for example, you can U-turn right on out of there, knowing its attacks, knowing what to wall it with, knowing what it can't do anything against.
Exactly. And this is another good example. If your opponent has U-turn, and it happens to use Will-O-Wisp, you go into that Ditto and go transform into him, and having his ability. So when he used Will-O-Wisp, it would increase his attack because of his ability Flash Fire.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's a great scout, and it's a great way to get over killing some Pokemon on your team when you need it to sword. So, then you can even use it as a death fodder.
Exactly, if you really need to. I mean, if it does what it needs to do, after it's scouted for you, if you need to sacrifice something, it's a good sacrifice because after it's done what it's supposed to do, you don't need it anymore, and you can get rid of it.
Exactly.
But that's it for now. We'll be back next time with who's got that slot, and next time, who's on the agenda for next time?
Okay, the ones on the agenda for next time is the Dragon Special Attackers, Hydreigon versus Latios.
That would be a good one.
Drapion versus Skarmory for Spikes, and Metagross versus Steelix for Stealth Rocks. Which I nicknamed my Steelix Skrillex because I thought it was kind of clever.
I think it's extremely clever. I wish I thought of it. So, just to repeat, for those of you who weren't paying attention, next time it'll be for a Dragon Special Attacker between Latios and Hydreigon. For Spiker, it'll be between Skarmory and Drapion. And then for Stealth Rocker, it'll be between Steelix, or as Ron's is called, Skrillex, and the oh-so-powerful Metagross.